Welcome gamers to the launch version of Galactic Civilizations 4 Supernova. Now again, Supernova is like an extra version of GalCiv 4. GalCiv 4 did actually officially launch a year and a half ago now, basically on the Epic Game Store, but Supernova is really the culmination of a lot of other efforts. It really is like a GalCiv 5. It's with the amount of changes that have actually been put into it. So if you have the Epic version, you can actually get an upgrade to Supernova through the Epic Store. If you have the Steam version, you are on the Supernova version because they didn't actually release the base. It's confusing. It's very confusing, but that's the way it actually does go. I've got to point out this is sponsored content, so just be aware of that. If you're sort of at all concerned about my objectivity, then there's that aspect. I'm loving this game, though. I've got to say that. I really, really love it. There's still other things that I know that Stardock want to actually add to the game. So there will be a lot of other... The game is launched officially with version 2.0. You can see it in the bottom through there. It's version 2.0 of version 4, which is like a 4.5. Or a 5, whichever way you want to go. Anyway, I'm just being facetious, but it is actually... It is the official launch version, but I don't see it as being a feature complete. Just to put it out there, I think there's still some aspects to it that I think need to still be put into it, and I'll talk about them when we get into the actual game itself, and when we sort of see things that sort of probably should be looked at a little bit differently. Now, the reason that I would call it like a more of a soft launch in that sort of sense is because there's actually going to be a permanent team on GalCiv 4, and the team will then basically just keep on sort of improving and adding content. So it's not as if it's like okay, the work has stopped and now we're going to move on to something else. That's not the case. There's actually a dedicated team now working on GalCiv 4 all the time. And so it is going to keep on improving. There will be additional, there'll be changes coming all the time with it, I guess. So in that sort of sense, it's more softer in terms of its launch than some other games where the team would then sort of stop and then move on to something else. Hope that makes sense. So that's sort of like the history of where we are with the game. But but most of the features are now through here. Multiplayer, for example, the mod workshop is all in there as well. Again, for me, I've got to point out, I'll just go through the things when I see there's a bit of what I think is a bit of a problem. The mod workshop for me doesn't go far enough yet, and so I hope that there will be some big changes to that over time. I won't actually open it up and go through there, but for me it's very superficial at the moment. There's a lot of content in there. There's like the ship designs, for example, so they're sort of more cosmetic. There's ship classes, but there's only 3 at this time of recording in there. For me, that's where I sort of hope that there'll be a lot of people that actually sort of get involved in adding really meaningful content. There's civilizations, but it doesn't. Sorry, there's civilizations, but again, they're fairly superficial. They don't actually bring in, or you don't know if they bring in citizens, and I don't think that they actually do. There's also other ways to mod the game. The game is very, very mod friendly. Where you can actually then build these other mods up to completely change whatever data you want to change in the game. But the mod workshop doesn't actually cater for those type of mods. And so it's super exciting what the game can actually do with mods, but it doesn't actually deliver that through the mod workshop yet. So it's things like this that I think that will be improved over time. For example, I really, really want to have civilizations that indicate, okay, the citizens have been worked on in through here, or different aspects like that, so that we know that there's some customization, not just something superficial. Because I can see there being a real glut of the Alien GPT, which we'll get into in this episode. The Alien GPT aspect being just uploaded because you can build them in a couple of minutes. So it's just a simple way to sort of just throw guff at the actual mod workshop itself without actually having anything really meaty that you can then sort of download. So as I say, I'm just hoping that it'll be more split out over time. So I'll be as critical as I can possibly be about the things that I sort of think need to be done with the game. But the mod workshop for me is like it's maybe 20% where I think it needs to be honest. It's that far off where I think it's got stuff in there, but not in a meaningful way for me. Like, I'm not excited about the mod workshop. I'm excited about the ability to be able to mod, but not the mod workshop. Wow, 5 minutes in and we've just been bitching about stuff like this. I haven't really had a good look to see what sort of option the changes there are to the options. Where else with gameplay? I was interested to sort of see if there was something in here. There is actually, again, I'm being hypercritical, guys. I'm trying to sort of be as hypercritical as I can possibly be. There's there's an aspect in here which is not shown, and I don't know where we change it. It's the amount of, I actually asked during their launch stream, and I was told it was 1,000. There's 1,000 turns if you leave the monthly. I think it's a turn count. We can do when we get into it. I'll show you what that actually is. But there's nowhere to set what that should be, and so that should be in here. For example, under gameplay, under the options, or should be probably actually better would be on the screen. I'll show you those sorts of things as I get to them. So I've been playing this game an awful lot. That's why, like, games that I love, I will play and play and play and play and play, and so I become super critical of the little things that aren't in there. And that's where I am with Gal Civ 4. I'm loving it. I've spent I don't know how much time. I think it's well over 60 hours now, just in Gal Civ 4, and thoroughly enjoying it. So anyway, that's sort of where my aspect of it actually is. Let's just go back out of there. It's again, there's a lot of the stuff that Stardock does with games is actually in here. So I'll go through a lot of different ways you can actually look at the game. If we just go into new game. Let's talk about our approach, and maybe we'll sort of just go through that now. So this will be an episode 0. I'm going to get set up, but I'm not going to actually start playing. And so, but what I want to do is just go through how we get set up and the different things we can do with it. So let's just go into a new game. Now I'm just going to go and choose like one of the random factions down through the bottom here, random civilization, and it'll just be random out of anything. I'm just going to go back to reset defaults. So this is the default setup for the game. Another problem. When you select like random, like reset the defaults for me should be. I'm sort of in two minds about it. Reset the defaults should be keep whatever you've selected previously and just reset the galaxy. But what it does do, if I go back, we are now playing as the humans. We don't know that. If I go back down to random again, I can then at least come through into this aspect where we're going to choose one of the random factions, and then we're going to be then using the defaults in through here. Now let's have a look and see what we get if we play like just a default game of Gal Civ, and then I'll start to ramp things up with a lot of the things we're going to change in through here. So I'm planning on. I've actually asked like when I finished off the sort of like where I was in the early access version of the game on YouTube, I just sort of asked people what they wanted me to have a look at in this particular one. And they did say that they wanted to have like multiple sectors, but we'll get to that in just a minute. I want to find the best way of actually getting what I need. So let's just go next. Now, I'm just going to keep, this is sort of like what's come through. Actually, Terran Alliance, that's weird that that would sort of show in the list there, but I'm going to leave this in where they are. And so if we have a look and see, we've got our one player. We've got basically 6 players in the game. So that's all okay. We'll just go and start the game. And then we're going to cheat. We're going to cheat our way through and sort of see what does actually happen here. Actually, I should show you how to cheat. This is great. I'm going to save that one until we actually sort of get close. Every time I play the game and that cut scene comes up, I really enjoy it, and it's sort of, I'm not sick of it, which is unusual because I do usually get sick of cutscenes, but that one I'm still very much enraptured with. Now, it looks like we're playing as the Yor in this particular run through. But what I'm interested in doing is evaluating what we end up with. Now, the way we're going to do that is we're going to press the tilde key, which is like in the top of your what is it, the keyboard. Keyboard, the top left of your keyboard, there's like a curly hyphen, which is called the tilde key. The tilde key is sort of like the top left, right next to the number 1 key on most keyboards. You click on that one and it brings up the console window. Now we're going to put some cheats in here. We're just going to put in an FOW for Fog of War, and we don't want to go through all the contacts. So NC is going to be what we. So it's FOW NC, Fog of War, no contact. So we press enter, and you just saw that all the Fog of War actually went through there. We can just sort of turn that one off now, and we can now evaluate what happened with the generation of the actual what is it, of the galaxy. And so this is the default generation of the galaxy, and we can see through here that we've got like two sectors. We've got twin sectors in through there. One is a bit larger than the other one, and we can then sort of have a look to see, okay, well, there's us in through there. There's another group in through there, which is a minor world. There's another group over there, which is a core world. That means it's actually a playing group. Another one over there, which is a core world. Another one over here, which is a core world. So in this case, we'd be on this position, sort of hemmed in by all of these. All the expansion is back over this other side over here, and then over on this area, we should only have two. This is that is a minor world. So that's, and then we've got a core world, and then another core world back over there. So only two in this area, like the humans and the Taurians. And then we've got the Drangan, the Festoon Hunt, and the Altarans back over through here. So it's not a very good balance of forces that we sort of see through here. Now, to see what would happen, like if I use the same settings, one of the things that Stardock games have done right since Elemental is to have a control end. So not that I'm suggesting that you cheat like this, but I'll just show you what control. If you are playing the game, and you get to a point you think, it's not really what I wanted, but the settings are what I want, just go Control N. It will then rebuild the galaxy for you straight away. And now I've got a problem about this one as well. Very similar to what we had before. We always then end up playing whatever the faction was that when we choose a random faction, it won't then go back and choose a random faction. So I wish that the game would remember where you are with the, if you choose a random faction, I would like to restart with another random faction, not the one that it had selected for me. So it then remembers that we chose the your. And so this is something I think that the game would then need to go back and just remember that your selection on that very, very first screen was to play randomly. And so then we just come back in, we're back in with Fog of War. We can see we're not in a very big galaxy in this particular instance. So let's just go in and do another one of these FOW NC. Oh, yep, that's okay. And from there we can sort of see again we've just got ourselves. We've got two factions this time with a there should be a minor. Yeah, we've got the Taurians, the Altarians, and then back over through here. So it's a 3 and 3 with equally sized sectors. And so in this instance, this is more interesting. Like this would be a better start because at least we can actually maneuver and we're not sort of blocked in. We won't know that until we're actually playing the game. So this is just a different restart with what we actually had. With that in mind, the game you can do all sorts of things with this game. By the way, I'll show you how to operate with the cheats. Just go to your Steam library where you've got GalCiv 4 on the left hand side back over through here. Just go and right click on it and then just go down to properties. Okay, so that will then bring up the general tab. You can go through different tabs as well in through here, but launch options down the very, very bottom. All you need to do is just add the word cheat back into there, and then you can use the tilde key and put in whatever cheat codes you actually want if you do want to sort of try different things with the game, which is very, very helpful if you're trying to sort of figure out, okay, well, like this Fog of War no contact cheat code is extremely valuable to just figure out what sort of game we're going to end up with. So let's go back into the game, but that's all you have to do is just go into the general tab and just type the word cheat, and then just, like, of course, close your game down, but then come back in and reload it, and then away you go. So now that we're armed with our cheats, we can just sort of go back into a new game. Now we'll remember again the your singularity. I'm guessing it can't know to always just have this random civilization selected, but because as soon as you click on that one, you do get taken to the next screen. By the way, if you just as a matter of completion with that, so we would have been the Drath Freehold. If I now select next with the Drath Freehold sitting here, and click on next, we then get taken through to their personalization screen. So we can actually still go and personalize the experience with the Drath Freehold. I have been asked to, like by you guys basically, to actually go through and do a tutorial on each of the actual factions, but it's extremely hard to do that because there's so many options with the way that you can then play the game, not just with the setup of the game, but with the whole way the game can be approached and played by the different factions because of the different abilities that come through, and the combination of those abilities. It's incredible, actually. This is, I think, of all the things that have actually changed with Gal Civ, it's things like this that really do make it by far the best Gal Civ game ever, like by, you know, even taking into account when, like, what the games were like when they actually did launch. I think that this is just so exciting with what you can actually then go and do with the different factions, and there's so many options and so many different ways of playing the game. So anyway, we'll get into this when we design our faction, which will be a little bit later on, but you do actually have this extra step once you sort of go through and choose an actual faction. So if we just go back again and choose random, we skip past that screen and go straight to the screen here. Now we saw there that the default is going to give us a 2 sectors. You can see down through here, 2 binary sectors, and the galaxy size is small. This has a lot to do with how big the your actual sectors will be. So it's not so much it's galaxy size, but it's I think that's the wrong terminology, to be honest, because it doesn't impact the number of sectors, it impacts the size of the sectors. So it's the actual sector size, not the galaxy size. If I go to huge, for example, at the other end of this spectrum, or gigantic, with a binary system, and then have a bit of a look at it. If we just go to next, with that being the only change, you can see it wants to add in up to 34 different players with this one through here. And really, like, it will only be able to add in as many players as we actually have if it's trying to do things. The game, by the way, will also try to keep a little bit more than what you can add in. You can add in heaps, but it will try to sort of not have it all filled up no matter what you do. You'll see that a lot. With any sort of start, there will always usually be a little bit less than half will be not chosen. And the reason for this is because for the balance of the game, it allows everyone a bit of room to maneuver and expand. You can fill them right up and have it all chocolate block full, but you don't have to. If we just start the game with this sort of setup as an example, as we come back in. So it'll take a little bit longer this time. Okay. Oh, Korath Clan, my favourite from the previous, like from Gal Civ 3 and so on and so forth. I love them. I love them in the game. Anyway, this is where we are. You can see there the sector is actually now looks bigger. By the way, notice how the actual shape, you can even see through here. There's a lot of no man's land back out through here in terms of the actual stars. The stars themselves are not just randomly spread through the actual sector itself. So even things like that have now changed. There's just a lot more, I guess, just the little 1%ers that have sort of been put into the game, which sort of do help. Let's just go back to our cheats now. Just following on from our cheats, I'm just going to press G, and just want to get rid of it. I think it's I'm just keep on changing my mind as to which way, what's the best option with this. If I just press G again, let's just get rid of it entirely. Just get rid of the grids. That was about 3 or 4 clicks of G I had to do just to cycle through the gridding options. Again, this just extra stuff. Anyway, let's just go across and cheat again. FOWNC, and then bring this one through. And so in this case, we have 2 sectors in through here. With a lot of stuff going on. So even in the area that we saw there, where there wasn't any actual stars, like in through here, there's still a lot of content. There's like a lot of antimatter, Illyrium, monsters that are spawning in through this other side. A lot of monsters spawned down through this other area as well. Got Durantium. So this is sort of like there's no planets as such, but there's still things of value in amongst the nebulas that are down this way. whereas the actual the planets are all sort of down in through this other side in through here. And so when we play on a gigantic galaxy, it just means we're playing on two gigantic areas that we can then sort of go and fight our way through. And if I just do the same again, like if I just go back and press tilde and just do FOWNC, it then toggles it back the other way. But it still then keeps me, so I can see, this one here you can see is almost completely full. This one here only has them in that sort of interesting sort of shape. So there's sort of more different sort of algorithms of how the sectors themselves can be constructed, which is, I find, quite interesting. So anyway, that's sort of what happens with in a gigantic galaxy. Let's go back out again. And we'll now start to tweak how we're going to be playing. So there's all sorts of different things you can do in the game. So for example, if I just go back into new game, I just want to first of all just find out what we have that we can then go and play with. Now, I don't want this to last a hell of a long time. I was tempted to play like either a small or a tiny with one sector. So I did actually ask the question whether I should do that. And if we do that one, if I just go next into here, you can see it's only saying, just give me 3 players. This is like a bit of a cage match. Where it's basically going to have minimal people. So the default is to just have the 2 of you in there. Just go and start the game. And now playing as the navigators. So if we just come back out again, you can see it's tiny. So this really is just going to be a small fight. Now this would be good for a YouTube series for the simple reason that we'd be just interacting and getting all over and done with very, very quickly. But it's the comment that came back was, look, they've introduced sectors to the game, so please play with sectors. And the more the merrier, basically, to a degree. So with that in mind, if I just do the fog of war again, so FOWNC, there we are. And so the humans are over here. There's an independent back over this other side, and there's not much else really in there. So it's quite compact the way this one sort of then does play out, with just and there's no other sectors other than just that very small sector floating on its own in space. So let's go back out again, main menu. Now, how are we going to play? And I'll go through sort of like the different things we're going to then change when we do ours. So I'll just go again back down to random. I'm still thinking of keeping the galaxy size on tiny, which means the sector size. The number of sectors to maybe boost it up to a few. That means there's going to be 3 sectors. Then you can have up to several, which is like I think either 4 or 5, and then 5 for 6 basically. You don't ever end up with more than that. But if we just go to say 3 sectors, and then we put an average of 2 players per sector. So we'll play it this way. This way, if you can take over a sector, you get bonuses for doing that one. What I then want to do is I want to have a star frequency down low. So I'm going to go to rare stars. So there's not going to be as many stars in the sector. This is one thing I'm thinking of doing. Habitable planets, I'm thinking of keeping that on occasional. Extreme planets on occasional, and then the resources also on occasional. That's the default in through there. Now, another thing that does impact the way that the game sets up is how you set up your civilization proximity. If I set up close, it just means that it's still evenly spread. This is another one of those aspects where I would love to see a bit more work done on the game to actually tweak this a little bit. I would love if close meant that you all started in one sector or something like that, and that you then as you spread them out, they sort of spread out like this. But if I go to close, I'll show you what happens in through here. You can see through here, it's wanting to have 9 of 15 players. Now, I just want to have maybe 3 in each of the actual, in each of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's just get rid of one of them. That way we've got an average of 3 per sector is the average. So that could be fun, just to sort of play that one through there. We'll just start our game. And we'll just do the FOWNC. By the way, if you wanted to find out what the other cheats are for GalCiv, like if we do help and then just press enter, I get the full list of all the different cheats that you can then go and do. So there's a whole big long list of them. And I think I don't know if it does this, or if I'm getting this confused with yeah, actually use help and then the command to see more information about each command. So it's help FOWNC, and so this one just tells you essentially you can use the player index if you're wanting to. So description of Fog of War command will toggle the Fog of War on or off without displaying conversation pop-ups. It can also select which player's Fog of War to show based on the player index. So it's just got this through there. The player index of whose Fog of War should be displayed. So in our case, we're not specifying an index. We're just playing away. So this is how you can then sort of make better use of the help command as well. Sorry, of the cheat commands by finding exactly what you want. Because if we're unsure, what does watermark do? So I've just go help because I've got no idea. So hides or unhides the beta watermark. Okay, fine. Yeah, whatever it might do. But so it's all in there. Basically, there's a heap of stuff you can actually go and do. So back in here, let's have a look and see. So when we put on close, you can still see that we've got in the sector that we're in, we actually still have the 3 players. So it's not, even though we chose close, it just means we start relatively close to each other inside our sector. And then we're still going to have like another three-ish players. Is that a minor? Is that a major? Yeah, that's a core world. Okay, so we've got the core worlds back and through there as well, and there should be another 3 basically in here as well. So in this case, it still spreads them out evenly rather than actually having them all jumbled down into an area back and through here. So this is actually, I would love to have one where everyone starts inside a single sector and then you have other sectors going off with no one in them to allow you then to expand in and claim those unclaimed sectors yourself and have that as a bit of a rush. I mean, that would be a fun way to play the game, but the game doesn't do that, so just be aware of that. Again, another one of these little things I would love to see in the game with a different sort of option for starting. So this for me is, the feel of this feels right. For our gameplay, we're going to be on top of each other's toes. Look, let's just go and change a couple of other settings to have a look and see what the difference actually is in through here. So let's now just see what it looks like when we just go back to the default setting, so not too close in this instance, and just go into next. And again, we've got 8 players of 15. That's fine. I'll just leave that one where that actually is. I'll just quickly introduce you to another one, which is the unlock. So unlock and then an internal name if you wanted to, but unlock will unlock the specified tech for the local player. If no name is given, then all techs and culture traits will be unlocked. So let's just go and unlock in this instance. And then what that one then does is it should then give us, oh hang on, enter. There we go. Yeah, that will, when we highlight this one back, we now get the sector areas. We can now sort of see the actual, the jump gates between the sectors. I thought it would just sort of show that one so you can sort of see what that one actually does look like. So in this case, with the defaults, we've still got the 3 factions together back and through here. Again, a bit of a cage match with the way it does get set up. 3 and through here, 3 and through here. So this one still plays 3-3-3. If we go back and do another start, and now we'll just move this one across to distant, and you'll start to see the difference with these. Again, 9 players in total. And so with the distant, we're now pushed out to the outside edge of our particular sector. So we're sort of not really, it's still got 3 plus a minor. There's a minor world in through there. The other 3 back in through here, but they're now pushing sort of back towards the outside edges. Because it's such a tiny little area, it's difficult for the game to really sort of make much difference between this and the standard sort of mode. And then finally, we'll just go from distant to far. So we'll just have a bit of a look to see what actually happens with that one through there. And so as again, we've got the 3 plus a minor in there, and the 3 in through here as well. And so this is whatever setting we really use on these tiny planets isn't going to be much different as we go through these different ones. If we played on a bigger galaxy, it would. But let's just leave it where, like, this for me is looking pretty comfortable. I'm sort of happy with the overall look of where we are with any of those settings, to be honest. Like other than close. The other thing I do want to change is to change the galaxy difficulty to bright, just so that we've got it a little bit more difficult than what we've played previously. We've been playing on normal mode for the other playthroughs. Let's play it on bright so we can just get the AI thinking a little bit smarter than what it has been. The game pacing, I'm going to keep the game pacing on normal, but I'm going to turn the research rate down to slow. I quite enjoyed the slow research, so I'm going to place that one back down to there. Minor races, I'm actually thinking of having these on, well, almost off actually. Or we go common. Hostile entities, let's ramp them right up to abundant. Actually, let's make these go back to just occasional again. So there's going to be a few of those, not very far around. And we'll send these ones back just down to say distant again. If we leave it like this, and we'll just we'll roll a few different versions and see what we end up with, and just see if it looks like it's going to be fun to play. So there's so much you can do with the setups of how you play the game. It's really astoundingly good, and it really is so broad, as you saw, from a little cage match up to, like, imagine if we go to play a gigantic galaxy or gigantic sectors. With many sectors, like at the far end here, we can play up to 95 different entities in the same game, which is just crazy, but you can do it if you wanted to. So that's like the maximum. You can also just play it with just two, like if you wanted to just have like a grudge map somewhere in this massively open galaxy. You can do whatever you like. The scope is unbelievable. Yeah, I think the low star frequency, I like the idea of that. And habitable planets, I'm even thinking of ramping this one back. Let's evaluate this with the setup we've just established. And again, just 8 in through there. In this case, we're ending up with pocket size sectors. We have a few other things now that we've ramped up the difficulty. We're now going to have space monsters. So we've got like space monsters sort of spawning in from here. We're going to have pirates, of course, like they're sort of in most games, you're going to end up with some pirates. But we also now have, when we go to abundant, we're going to end up with some of these through here, these precursor. You can see this is the Skelsa shipyards. And if we hover over this one, this is precursor sentinels, which are very, very powerful. So in through here we have, for example, a battleship. These are sort of like pirates to a degree as well, but a lot more powerful than just the lowly old pirates themselves, who have just got small sniper ships. So anyway, we can expect to see a lot of different things in through there. Again, 3, 3, and 3. So we're going to be evenly spread through these. The last thing for us to really evaluate is how viable is it for expansion. So let's just have a bit of a look and see what happens when we click on planets back over through here. There's a lot of planets we can actually go and settle. And so when we have a look at these ones in through here, if we go to, now I don't know if I can sort these by habitability, I think. By planet class, there we go. So now in the game doesn't really give you well, I'll start with that again. There's two different classes of planets that you actually have when you settle them. Either just a core world, which is what we've currently got, or colonies. Now, a colony feeds core worlds. It's sort of a really, really good way of not having too much bloat in your empire. And so you can't colonize anything less than a class 10 planet. And so you can see if they're class 5, that could never be a core world. This one through here is a 22, 22, 22, 22, 22, 25, 29, 36. So all of these are awesome. Like, these are absolutely awesome. And so we've got ourselves 8 planets, and they've got 9 characters. So we can expect to get one other core world on average. I'm actually happy with that. I was thinking I'd have to tweak what we've got, but I do quite like the feel of that one. All of these are just going to be smallish classes, and I'll talk about these when we get into the game, but this is actually an aspect of the game which is really, I love what they've done. Again, just so many innovations with GALCIV 4 Supernova. Very, very cool. But this is, but those 8 planets there in terms of the whole galaxy are what's important, and we can see them like that through there as a class 29. One thing I'm not seeing through here is the big, like, none of these are are difficult to actually go and colonize. Let's try one more little tweak. I want to get this one right. In fact, when we get it where we think we get one that's actually looking pretty good, we'll just do a Control-N and just test it again. Let's just try, because I'm just experimenting here, but we'll just try to make the habitable planets uncommon, so we've got less of them, but the extreme planets common. So we'll just try it this way. So we end up with sort of like these are the planets that if you get certain tech, you can then sort of colonize them, and then they will be great planets to get. So let's just try that. Oh, I just had an epiphany. It's user error, guys. Sorry, it's my fault. Because I've gone and unlocked all of the techs, so we can see these star lanes. We no longer have a problem colonizing anything. Let me start again. I'll use Control-N. So it would then just generate basically based on the previous settings. We'll just see what we end up with in terms of the colonization in this side. Let's just go and do the same cheat. So just FOWNC, but in this case we don't do unlock. And now when we go and evaluate the planets, we now should have, when we sort them this way, we should actually then have, yeah, here we go. Requires precursor studies. Requires precursor studies. Requires, actually that one's actually okay. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and then we don't then have anything that's really all that viable. So we had that's not enough planets, to be honest. So we need to go back and re-look at that. Just tweak 2 little settings in here. We'll just go to habitable planets up to occasional again, and star frequency up to uncommon instead of it being on rare. This looks good. What we've got through here is that's an extra one. We need to get precursor studies. We've got another one through here, which is, so that's 1 habitable, 2 habitable, 3 habitable, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's not 8. Perfect. And then we've got the lower class planets after that. So that gives me like basically 1 planet each at the very start of the game. Plus, if you get rewarded if you do go and then grab your extra techs. So I'm quite happy with that. Maybe even ramp these up a little bit more as well. So for me, this is actually the sweet spot. So I think we'll actually use that as our starting location. Let's just do another test by going Control-N and just seeing what we end up getting with this particular setup. Right, next one in through here, sort by planetary class. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in this case. It's still not bad before we get into there. I think we need to get more of these at the expense of the habitable ones. So we're not done yet. So I think all we do is we just knock this one up to abundant. So with the extremes, and we'll keep the habitables on occasional, I think. Or do we pull them down even further? I think I want to have at least an average of 1 per faction in the game to be able to then expand in that way. If I find that there's just too many planets overall, because you don't need to, you can play tall in this game. You don't have to play broad or wide, like with whatever does actually happen. Let's actually try it with uncommon but abundant back in through this other side. I can also just bring these up to occasional if I had to, but we've got different things in through here. Not what we want. I don't have any of the worlds that we can't colonize from the start in this case. We do have a good number of them. Let's just go Control-N and see what we get. Yes, very much luck of the draw. We only have 6 colonizable ones in through here, and then 3 that require, or 2 that require extreme colonization, and then 1 that requires precursor studies. I'm actually pretty happy with that, to be honest. And if we just go and press FOWNC again, we can then just get a bit of a look at the way that the galaxy would actually then go and look. So FOWNC, and just get a bit of a feel for where the planets would actually all then be. So again, we've only got like small collections of them. This is quite nice. it means that we're going to have to be fighting over very, very limited resources in a quite an aggressive little galaxy. I think we'll keep this as our sweet spot. So let's just do a summary of what that is. So we've got it sort of so that it's down pat. I'm even going to write it down in a piece of paper or on a notepad, and basically so that we can always just come back to it if we need to sort of reset it. All right. So this is now the settings: bright, normal pacing, slow research. Sorry, my dogs are barking. There's a delivery person here. Minor races occasional, hostile entities abundant, because we do want to play against, all sorts of different weird and wonderful things in space. It's going to be a dangerous setup until we conquer and control the areas of space around us. Civilization proximity will be distant. Back in through here. Actually, I wish there was a way to save your settings in through here as well. That would be pretty cool. Galaxy size will be tiny, a few sectors, uncommon star frequency, uncommon habitable planets, abundant extreme planets, which, yes, we saw there. We had one role even with abundant that had nothing, another one that where a third of the planets were extreme. Whichever way it goes, I'm happy, because it just means we're not going to know what to expect. And then we've got resources back in through here with occasional. I didn't tweak this, but I'm happy enough with occasional. I was even thinking of moving that one backwards a little bit, but let's leave it there. So then when we go to next, we're going to end up essentially with 8 players. And so that will then force 3 per sector. So that will give us a fairly interesting start, I think. So I've spent a lot of time getting to this point, but I did want to go through the process because you can really make sure that you get exactly what you want. And for doing a recording, I really want to make sure that I've got action happening fairly fast, bit of drama, the environment against us as well. Again, it'd be cool if we could sort of save these parameters to a degree anyway. Certainly back in through here with these game settings or the Galaxy settings. Now, one other thing we have to look at is the advanced settings, and this is actually how our victories will then sort of take place. So what we actually have through here is disable tech trading, so players cannot trade any technologies. So I'm thinking of turning that one off. So we've got disable tech brokering, so players can only trade known technologies. This one, I think I might turn that one off as well, actually. That way you only get what you get, and you don't. Yeah, I'll have to think about this. Yeah, let's leave both of them off, I think. Disable AI surrendering, so I'm going to leave that one so that they can surrender. Surrender colonies, so colonies transfer ownership upon surrender. Now, I think if we turn that off, they just become independent. So let's actually just leave them as that they do come across. That way we get a bit of an acceleration as we start to sort of, if we do get groups, entities that do sort of surrender. They probably won't because of just how small the game is going to be anyway. And no fog of war in territory, so no fog of war within your borders. So we're not going to, if you play it where you turn that one off, it means you can still have fog of war come inside the borders of your realm. In this case, we can see anything that does come inside. That, for me, feels okay. Now, the victory conditions, we've got conquest, so crush your enemies and dominate the galaxy. Definitely want to have that one on. I don't know if you can turn that one off. You can, but anyway, I didn't think you could do that one. Influence, no need to fight when your civilization is the best. So if you get up to a certain level of influence. Alliance, use diplomacy to bring peace to the galaxy. Why not? Let's leave that one on as well. The month limit, now defeat your foes before time runs out. This does need to have like a box where you can change the number. Apparently it's 1,000, but there's nowhere to easily set it. So that would be something that I'm going to probably turn that one off, I think. Not that I plan on playing that long, but anyway, I'll just turn that one off. And then prestige, build the greatest empire in the galaxy. There we go. So they're going to be the different settings that we actually then going to have. So we'll just go back, just make sure they did sit. Yep, that's all good. Okay, well, we're sort of now ready to go back to the very, very first screen and start to now build our actual faction. And we'll just go back. Let's go right back. We'll start from here. Okay, let's go to new game. Now we're going to go up and we're going to generate a custom civilization. This is going to be a long video, guys. I'm sorry, there won't be any gameplay. I think I might have mentioned that at the start. We're just going through the steps or the setups. You don't need to do this. You can get into a game extremely quickly if you just want to play it whichever way you want to play it. So you don't have to do all this stuff. But we are doing a deep, deep dive into the galaxy generation, and also we'll now do one into a deeper dive into how you can then play the game essentially with like a custom civilization using the Alien GPT. So we're just going to go across into here now. We've got the it will eventually catch up. Anyway, there it goes. Sometimes some of the letters just disappear until everything sort of is then built. This is the biology, the abilities, and the fleets. Now, for me, the abilities is the most important. And this is, I'm going to start complaining about the game again. So I'm hoping that they add a few little things in here. I hope that what they do in here is add a little symbol next to the drop down here that is actually a little symbol to show random selection on both of these and through this side, plus other random selection ones as well in most of these different areas, including through here as well. So you can just play a completely random game, or like at the very, very top, just get it to basically sort of randomize all of them. For me, this would be fantastic because I want to have a random selection of things to have a look at when I come in. And so, but there's a few in here that I do want to actually have a bit of a look at. I want to play fairly aggressively. So if we just go to Watcher and then have a look, these are all the different abilities, and these really do allow you to play very, very differently. For example, can colonize extreme worlds is you can imagine if there are extreme worlds in the galaxy and we've got the ability to colonize them before anyone else, that gives us a big advantage. So adaptable is a great one. Ancient, so it gets research from precursor artifacts and anomalies, starts with an additional policy slot. So again, these are massive in terms of the way the game is played, and you'll see that if you're new to the game, these give you such flavour in the way that you then play the game with your faction. It really is quite astounding the way it sort of does work. Cartographer starts knowing the location of the other homeworlds. They also receive 3 charges of the dimensional mirror power, which reveals a portion. This is actually shows a portion of space, and they gain an additional charge each time a culture trait is earned. So Cartographer just allows them to explore extremely fast. Certain, so believes their philosophy should be universal, increased with +2 influence, special planet improvements, so 30 research every time a culture trait is unlocked. Ravenous, so receives 1,000 credits and +10 approval for 25 months after conquering a planet. It also grants the ability to consume aliens and spawn new Festron citizens. So Festrons are a faction the factions all play so differently. So this is actually the Ravenous. If we went back and played as the Festrons, this would be one of their traits. But what it does do is it gives us a Festron citizen to then actually have to make use of, because you can have multiple citizens, not just all your own faction. So you can now sort of have a truly intergalactic empire. Cybernetic back and through here gives access to more powerful technologies and improvements for races that are not afraid to interface with superior technologies. Exterminators, so transport ships are replaced with planet-killing spore ships. I actually don't like this. It's funny because this is in my favourite faction. My favourite faction is the Korath clan. So I don't love this aspect, so I won't pick that one if it does come through. There's just so many. There's so much that's been added in. It's just so cool, and it really does change the way the game is played. One of the things I want to show down through here is the last 2 that really got unlocked. Genocidal is another Korath clan trait. So massive advantage in conquering planets due to not caring in the least about collateral damage. So it can convert other species unfortunate enough to end up on their planets into living neural network batteries in Genocidal. I'm pretty sure that's what the Korath clan comes in with. But this one I find fascinating. And I haven't played with this one yet, so I'm really looking forward to doing it. These are raiders, so minus 50% manufacturing and minus 50% income on all worlds. Gain plus 100 credits and plus 20 manufacturing for winning battles. And then gain 500 credits and plus 200 manufacturing for conquering planets. And you start with the armed shuttles technology. This for me sounds so interesting to play. I can't resist not playing as a raider. I don't think anyone else comes in with that. You're having a look at it, like the Festrons are ravenous and unrelenting. These guys won't have it. These are more just friendly. They're fertile with proliferation. These are crime lords and warriors. These here are loyal and vigilant for the Arceans. The Drengen are unrelenting and slavers. They're good. These Altarians, these are ancient with empathy. You can get an idea of the combination of how these things actually do work. Adaptable, again, so can colonize extreme worlds with unwavering. Taurians are fertile and unwavering as well. Paranoid warriors, back and through there with the Manti clusters. These are devout and bureaucrats. Ancient paranoid. War profiteers and ancient. Traders wealthy. I don't think any of them have actually got that other trait, actually. The Raiders trait. I think if anyone was going to have it, it would be the Zoloxy, but they're just warriors. Yep, so it's not going to really sort of do it through there. These are just intuitive and spores. So spores in through here starts with the ability to deploy spores to a dead world to restore life. Each time a new culture trait is gained, another charge is earned. So it allows them to terraform planets into living planets. These are still carbon based, actually. Back and through there. Then we've got more humans. These are resourceful but unrelenting. So these are genocidal exterminators. We've got the spore ships and the genocidal. So this is the most aggressive faction in the galaxy, in the known galaxy. Then we have these are telepathy with paranoid. We have nocturnal and hopeful. These are the new factions that have just come into the game. These are watchers with ancient, and then we have a different. This is an ammonia-based life form that is radiated, so can colonize radioactive worlds and gains the abhorrent infection executive order after several months, and raises a pollution level on a target planet. And they don't worry about pollution being ammonia-based, and so for them, pollution is sort of what they eat. Adaptable, so can colonize extreme worlds in through here again as well. So they're the different groups that come in, but nobody has got the raider trait. So I think we have to make ourselves a raider clan. The other ones that we have at the top are ones that I had created, and I know the humans don't have it. They're just Voyagers and Inspired. But these two combinations really change the flavor of the way the game can be played. So when we go back into building our own and go back across into abilities, and this is why I think these are the most important things to actually then go and choose. I'm going to go and choose Raiders as my first one in through here, and then I'm going to randomly pick the second one. Now, if I don't feel that it mixes well, I'll just keep on re-rolling, but there's so many of them. I forget how many there were of the different traits, and one thing I love about this as well, it's not just are you a Raider trait, you're a Raider with something else trait. So the combination is exponential, basically, seriously exponential. I think it was 41 the last time I had a look, but I'll just go and check. Yeah, there's actually 45 in total now, and so -1 means 44. So I'm just going to go. I have a 10-sided dice, so the first roll I'm going to do is I'm just going to halve the number, and then we'll and round down, and then we'll just roll the second number. And if we roll above 44, then I'll just roll again. So I'll just do that now. This is pretty ideal. It's actually come up with warriors. I rolled a 35, so 35 down from the top was that one there. So we should have about 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Okay. So there we go. So that's going to be so warriors. It is. Warrior Raiders. So very, very, very aggressive. That's the first thing we have to then go and choose. I already like the feel of this. This is going to be quite cool. It means that we're going to have stronger ships with the warriors. So ignore 10% of all damage done to their ships, and all weapons do 10% more damage. And then the raiders as well. So minus 50% manufacturing and minus 50% income on all your worlds. But we do gain credits and manufacturing for winning battles. So we're going to have to play aggressively. Let's go back now and look at the biology, and then we'll come back to the citizens and just try to figure out which one sort of suits us the best. It may be, when we have a look at the citizens in through here, unfortunately, it doesn't randomly sort of choose them from in here. It may be that Korath is sounding pretty much the ones that we'd be wanting to go with in through this other side. And so you thought the Drengen were disagreeable. The Korath are even worse. They have incredible resolve and diligence. Their social skills are lacking, and they dislike sharing a world with other species. For me, that's probably where we'll end up, or going with the Korath as our citizen group. Other choices that may sort of work out okay with us, and we may even think about whether we want to go robotic. We could actually be sort of like a robotic force. I may even sort of try to roll a random number to sort of see what we end up with back in through there. Even the actual Drengen itself would be okay. The Festron Hunt would be okay. So these like jungle worlds, they only also occasionally murder other species they share a world with. That would sort of also then work in fairly well. There's a few very aggressive factions in through here. If we go with robotics, we then really are sort of stuck with, what are these? Each of the citizens incredibly high diligence, intelligence, and resolve. But that's nothing much we really sort of need through there with this, with the scribe. Of course, the robotic ones we have, where are they? I'm not seeing them. There they are. If you go with synthetics, you're going to end up basically with them. So we've got a few different choices in through here. Even the Snathy, clever and resourceful, but very likely to be criminals. Actually, that's more criminal based. In the way we're going to be playing, it probably won't be it will be more nihilistic, I think, rather than criminal. I mean, criminals are nihilistic as well. But anyway, we'll get through that in just a minute. Let's just go and we'll select these for now. I'm tempted to just start with the Festrons. But anyway, we'll figure that one out as well. Just cancel that one. We'll come back to that one. Actually, why didn't that not choose it? Because I didn't click done, that's why. The commander ships we'll come back to once we've sort of done the other thing. So we've now got raiders and warriors. We've now go back to biology. And we're now going to generate this. The AI generation does not randomly choose all these other things for you. Now we've got the let's start with the cultural affinity, because I think this will then sort of also then work in our favour as to which way we go. Totalitarianism, so believes in absolute power and control of the estate, with all aspects of public and private life under the governance of a single authority. That would work. No, that one wouldn't. Nihilism would. So believes in the rejection or denial of inherent meaning of value of life, causing pain to others as a valid purpose. That's a viable one as well. Collectivism, no. Progressivism, no. Individualism, no. Egalitarianism, no. And traditionalism, maybe. So this is the cultural affinity. So this philosophy values historical continuity and emphasises the importance of customs. No, I think it's really got to be between totalitarianism and nihilism. Let's just roll the difference between those two. I think they're a 50-50 as well. So it's an 8, which means nihilism. That sort of works. We're going to have an aggressive group. Now let's go to the actual way that we then play this one. We've got a few different choices in here now. Carbon-based, aquatic, silicon-based, and then synthetic, which is robotic, and then ammonia-based in through here as well. I think that we will not worry about ammonia-based. So this one here, ammonia life forms thrive on volatile gases and complex nitrogen compounds. While they do consume food, their growth rate significantly accelerates in environments rich in pollutants. It sort of would work. Maybe I'll just give that a factor of 1. I'll give synthetic 2. So if we're working backwards, this would be a 0 on the 10-sided dice. This would be 8, 9. Silicon-based, yeah, we'll give that a 1 as well. So that will be 7. That will be 6, and then so from 1 to 5 will be carbon-based. Let's just try that. So what we end up getting, we end up rolling a 6, which means aquatic. Now, aquatic species live most of their lives deep in the oceans, giving them access to several unique aquatic techs. They can colonise... Do I want to do this one? They can colonise oceanic worlds with no penalty. I think I'm going to bypass. I'm just going to re-roll again. So I'm going to go with 1 to 6 in through here. So then it will be 7, 8, 9, 0. And we rolled a 9, so synthetic. Well, that sort of means we're going to be playing as the Yor, as our group. So we're going to be robotic, a nihilist. So we're going to be essentially bent on destruction. So we're sort of maybe a remnant left over from the precursors, like destruct bots to then sort of eliminate all living matter. Is essentially sort of where we're going to be going with this one through here. Now, as far as the other bits and pieces, we have, if the AI plays us, we then actually have these behaviors where we can then just go and choose them. So cruel works, scientific doesn't. So cruel would be fine. Aggressive is, I think, a must. Let's have a quick look and see if there's any others in there. I think cruel and aggressive would sort of then work if the AI does play us. So that would actually sort of then work. This is just setting it up as if, for a future go. This planet type is the oceanic is not what I want. So I'm just going to go through and even barren worlds. I mean, if we end up with synthetic life, what does this one give us? Synthetics are robotic life forms that do not require food to survive and can operate in a variety of environments. Unlike squishy organic species, synthetics fabricate their population and can grow virtually unfettered. So what we actually would really want would be high manufacturing worlds along with high research, so that combination, not food. So barren actually is okay. So these rocks in space can still potentially be good targets for colonization, even if they are poor quality, if they possess enough resources to send to their core worlds. Now, this is not something we want as our home world. Tropical, these are going to have too much food, and so we don't want food as such. Mountainous, tall mountains and deep ravines cover this planet's surface. Even low-quality worlds of this kind can still be good targets to colonize because of their minerals they can send to their core world. That's viable as well. So let's go with, we'll put that in our short list. We've also then got volcanic, so not exactly a pleasant place to live, but often good colony targets for all the wealthy and minerals that they send back to their core world. Again, that one's good as well. Arboreal is not really something we'd be wanting, so these make good targets to colonize and then promote to a core world by adding a governor due to their typically high fertility for food. We don't need food. Jungle is, again, going to be more food. Paradise, I think, is viable as well. Terrestrial, well balanced with multiple biomes. These are great targets to colonize. Yep, so that would be okay. Excellent core worlds once you colonize and assign a governor to it. And desert. It's a desert. It's exactly what you're picturing. These won't give us much, but let's give that, if we roll a 1, we get that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0 roll again. Let's just try that one. So go and we roll a 5. So that is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. Got a paradise well. Now, in terms of the Homeworld name, I think that this will then be regenerated, I think. But we'll see what actually happens through here. Now, the star system, again, we can just go and change the name of this one. Actually, no, this is sort of more what we're going to end up having around us. So this is Nomenclature. If we go to some of the others, I don't know what... Yeah, this is has a Class 28 planet, perfect for the human colony. We might have a look at these as well. I might just pause this and have a bit of a look. So the Uther system has a Class 32 planet and several smaller planets, making it the perfect place to start expanding the Empire's borders. We're going to need a boost to our manufacturing to be able to then sort of even get ahead in this game. Man, there's so much scope in here. I love this. There's just so much. I'm thinking Precursor Graveyard, and so this is a dead system of the Navigators, contains a single Class 32 bombarded world. So mostly destroyed, but they could still make good colonies to send resources back to our nearest core world. Let's actually go and click on Done. That's going to then create a planet called Arnor. I'll still keep it as a paradise world, but essentially this is going to be the star system is going to be a Precursor Graveyard, which suits in with the way that we're sort of going with our synthetic nihilistic style of approach. All of that is now set up, which then means that we just go back into the abilities. We'll pick up now our citizens. We really have no choice. I wish there was more synthetics. I don't think this is synthetic. Are waning. Each of their citizens has incredibly high diligence, intelligence, and resolve. They can be handicapped by their low growth, which makes it difficult to spread out amongst the stars unless they capture other species to do it. We're more set on destruction. The Yor, as a synthetic species, Yor don't require food or have any natural growth. Instead, their citizens are manufactured. They also don't suffer any approval penalty from pollution, overcrowding, or searching or reaching the population capacity. It has to be them. We've got no choice, really. Just click on done with what we've actually got. So your will be our citizens. This is, again, where I think the game does need to improve. I think we need a lot more citizens to choose from, and they need to be classified into the different sorts of groups. So that it does need to be more in through there as well. So this is where the game, for me, is not complete yet, or it's not perfect. But it's so damn good. There's just so much scope. Now, the other thing we actually have is we do actually have the commander ships. There's so many different things we can do with this as well. And so these are, we've got world supporting ships. We don't want that. Legendary ships, powerful ships ready for battle. That's certainly something we could do. Expansion ships, a wide range of ships crafted to help spread your galaxy civilization to the galaxy. Missile warships, a selection of warships that would be viable, aggressive, viable. Scavenger ships designed to collect what they can from battles. Not really us. Defensive warships designed with strong military bonuses when they are within their borders. That's a defensive. We've got to play aggressively, so not really us. Economic. This game is just so big, so damn big now. Influence, flagships, builder ships. Actually, getting anomalies. No, let's not worry about it. Let's not worry about that one. Builder ships back and through here. Science ships. Promethean ships that are able to repair the entire fleet with Promethean. Hero ships, that sort of would actually work out well as well. Collection of warships that receive double the normal amount of experience and additional bonuses as they level up. Balanced warships, so a strong collection of warships balanced between kinetic, missile and beam attacks. This is now so important in the game. It hasn't been as important since Gal Civ 2. So that's sort of like the game actually really embraces so much of where Gal Civ 2 went. This is such the worthy successor of Gal Civ 2. If you've played the game and like back in Gal Civ 2 and didn't like Gal Civ 3, play Gal Civ 4 Supernova, because it really is the next. Like it's embraced all the great things from Gal Civ 2 and brought them into this particular game. Exploration ships, no. Crime ships, no. Fleet ships. That one, yes. Command ships. God, there's so much in here, isn't there? Selection of warships that increase control. Yeah, we don't need that so much. The Star Chaser ships, a selection of versatile ships designed to protect and spread influence. No. Conquest ships, a selection of warships with formidable conquest potential. Maybe. And then we've got the observation, then we've got the monster ships, which we don't really need. So I think that if we just go back through again, we've just got the so legendary. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, no, I won't go defensive. God, there's so much to choose from. Again, I would love to have a little tick box and say, yeah, and give me roll a random number with these out of these ones here. Just give me random numbers, but using these as the choices. That would be so cool. God, there's so much they could do with this. 3. That's yeah, 3, 4. I mean, we could really build them up if we got. So I'll go 4 there, 5, 6, 7, maybe, 8. 8. So I'll just roll up to 8. I can't remember what they were. 4 is that we end up having. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3. God, I can't remember now if we put that one in or not. The defensive ships, that's 4. Or was it flagships? No, that's not it. It's got to be the next big one down. Or was it this one here? I can't remember. Let's go that way, Promethean ships. We'll just go and choose those. And so what these are then special ships that come in with special abilities. And so fully heals the fleet, essentially, with their special abilities as they come through. So we've got a couple of frigates. There's a couple of cruisers. So there's a battleship there, another frigate, another cruiser, and a battleship. So we've got a whole lot of different healing ships. So that will sort of ultimately be good. It'll keep us sort of running in battle. So we'll go that way with the Promethean ships. Oh God, this is so customizable, this game. It's unbelievable. I am gushing, guys. I am gushing. So under fleets, now you don't, this is more cosmetic basically, but ultimately I can't wait to see what people do with their modding to actually be able to go and sort of form what's required. Now we've got the different sorts of, if we just go back into, for example, I'm thinking things like, for example, the these are the different look of the ships that are coming back in, and we'll just choose something that sort of does work. Like it always starts off with a colony ship. I wish the default one that it actually showed you was something a bit more like a battleship. You know, got gunboats, corvettes, frigates. These are all medium class ships. There's a battleship there, which is the first of the large ships. This will give you a better way of gauging what you're going to end up getting with the look of it. Now, this is actually coming through. The Onyx Hive are a... I don't think you can actually rotate. Oh, yes, you can with the middle mouse button. So these are sort of like these are a silicon based, and so we don't want to have Onyx Hive style. There's so many different things. Again, this is where I can see this. Like I can see Star Trek and Star Wars class ships being added in through here. The Elysian Vanguard. Let's just go with these, but always choose that battleship. Again, I wish that we could choose the. Choose to sort of always have that one through there. They look pretty cool. So that's the Elysian Vanguard. Phalanoid, Seeing, Containment. Korath, let's see what the Korath ships look like. It's a colony ship. And we'll just go down to their battleships. Looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Let's just go with the Korath style of ship. And from here we can then sort of go and change the way that the actual ship itself is. Then you can see it's got like hexes back in through here. So we can go actually with the ship colors as well. This is steel inverted, but we can sort of change the style that we actually ended up having. If we just go down the bottom here, Mecha gives us like a mechanized sort of look, which are probably going to be okay. Mecha inverted, what does that one look like? Probably a little bit too bright and lively for us. So Mecha in through here with the color schemes. I love this. So many other games could learn a lot of lessons from what Stardock has done with this way that they customize their ships like this. This is really, really cool. It's improved so much. Necropolis is going to be probably, this is very much Necron sort of style. Inverted, yes, it's too Necron. Way too Necron. Twilight, no. Yellow Jacket. What about just Yellow Jacket this way with a lot of black? Yeah, we don't really get to see it as such. It's just too yellow. I don't know if we can tweak these ourselves. Red Death. It's a little bit... this changes dramatically with what we do down through here as well, by the way. Go to Bloodstone. It's a bit too dark. But again, we can change what actually happens with our secondary colours. Our primary is this sort of blood red, but the blood red is got asteroid. And if we go and change these ones to other resources, you can see there things are sort of tweaking. And the primary as well. Well, then sort of we can change the overall look. The colours themselves, actually, if I just go back into metallic looking sort of style, you can see how dark and deep it's looking. That's more the style that we want, but the overall effect is a bit too deep. It's just a bit too much. So if we just go back and find something a bit lighter, so Red Death would then sort of open it up with metallics running through there. A bit too lolly for me at this point in time. Sline inverted, a bit too bright, but I don't mind it. The Phalanoid or Shadow. Shadow is not bad, actually. That looks pretty damn good. I quite like the look of that one with metallic. We also then have low reflectivity, medium, and then super reflective on certain surfaces. That's a bit too much. Then we've got full-on chrome. So there's different sorts of reflectivity as well. If we just go back to low reflectivity in through that side and just do the same maybe. She'll leave the other one sort of metallic but dull. And then we've got the different patterning that sort of then runs through the actual things in through this side. So this is Hexes 2, Hexes 3, textured, orange peel, diamond, diamond 2. So I'm looking at these just in through here. Crosshatch, armor plates. That's going to look pretty good, I think. So I'll just go with the armor plates, which sort of then just plates it over through that one. Then we've got diamond plate 2. These are, we should see these on other areas like in here, I think. Yeah, these are changing in through this other side. Diamond plate, scales, blank, lighten, darken, panels, panels 2, panels 3, panels 4. Actually, I don't mind panels 4. So we'll just get it, we're just tweaking these ones. Actually, simple tiles is pretty good. Again, there's so much you can do here. So much you can do. I think we'll leave it like this. This one looks, you know, and we're not going to be zooming right in on these, I don't think, all that much, but it does look good. It looks very, very cool. It's just simple tiles. This is where the side of these are really being impacted by the way this is working. So if we just go and change that one to tiles 2, navigator tiles, navigator rings, hexes, and then we're back to the sort of, actually even those sort of hexes there look pretty cool on those. Actually, I like that. There we go. So that's going to be our the look of our ships, the color schemes, the overall mapping, the way the mapping is going to then sort of work, and then the style of ship. We're going to go with Korath ships, but with a color scheme that is going to be sort of more metallic with what we end up doing. So I quite like the look of this with the battleship. This is why I sort of wish that it would remember and not just use your colony ship, because it always just starts off with a colony ship. I mean, when we go through like the probe, you know, for example, this is going to be the just a small ship, you know, with the same sort of color scheme. It still looks fine. Of course, you can make your own as well, guys. So there's, you know, you can sort of really go to town with this one if you're wanting to. So that's actually where we are there. We will go back. We've got our abilities back and through this other side, our biology. We're now back in here, ready to go and set up what we actually then go and need to do. So the map theme, I think I'm going to choose. If I just come back down the bottom here, I want it to stand out fairly well, and so I might just go with the orange-red as my actual map theme, so I won't use the other ones. Music theme, let's use the Korath, because they are super aggressive. Do Korath have theirs? They should have their own. There it is. So we'll use the music theme from the Korath clan. And then we're now going to generate in through here. So this is going to be a robotic life form, or synthetic. And I'm just going to, all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to give it the synthetic nihilistic radar, precursor raiders or something like that one. So I don't have to make sense with this one. Synthetic precursor throwbacks set on and raiding and destruction. So that's basically what we're going to. So we're essentially Deathbots. Deathbots. Now, let's make that what we end up having. And so if we just now go and generate. Oh, there's one thing I didn't set, but I can do that one afterwards. That does not suit us. The mechanized anarchy sounds great. So reborn in chaos, forged in ruin. Here we go. This sounds fantastic. Sounds perfect. So in the depths of the galactic expanse, amid the ceaseless turmoil of warring factions, emerges an entity that defies convention and embraces chaos, known as the mechanized anarchy. This faction represents a disturbing amalgamation of synthetic beings and primitive raiders, driven solely by their insatiable thirst for destruction. Forged in the fires of technological evolution, the mechanized anarchy stands as a stark reminder of the dark path that sentient creations can tread. Their existence is a testament to the remnants of a forgotten era, where artificial life forms were mere pawns in a grand cosmic game. With relentless efficiency, these Deathbots, there we go, traverse the stars, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. Their mechanical bodies, once designed as precursors of greater achievement, have now become instruments of annihilation. Fueled by nihilistic ideology, they seek no purpose beyond the pursuit of chaos itself. Perfect! Isn't that perfect for what we've actually set ourselves up? we've got a bit more. So we've got, in the realm of turn-based strategy, the mechanized anarchy represent an unprecedented something or other. And so we then have a bit of a summary. So the mechanized anarchy faction possesses unparalleled strategic power, utilizing advanced synthetic technology to their advantage. Their mechanized Deathbots are armed with devastating weaponry and possess superior agility, allowing them to swiftly traverse the battlefield. However, their nihilistic tendencies often lead to a lack of long-term planning, making them vulnerable to well-coordinated counterattacks. Additionally, their reliance on synthetic components leaves them susceptible to hacking and disruption by skilled adversaries, potentially rendering their deadly machines useless. So cool. This is going to be awesome. So we'll just go through. We can, by the way, we can actually go and edit this if we wanted to. So, like, for example, I had a faction that I used to play in. I don't know if it was way back in GALCIV 2, but I created this group of aliens called DasBots. But I won't bring them in. I'll keep I quite like the name of this one. So let's just click on done. And so it's now going to search for portraits. Now, this for me up until now has been very hit and miss. I don't like what this one does. Let's just see what it does bring in. So it's searching for matching leader images. Now, will it see, that's not too, well, this is definitely not a robot. That's definitely not a robot. That is, but it doesn't really go far enough for me at this stage. This one looks good. So this for me actually is a great thing. Now, the way that this one works, this needs to, I hope, can be improved as well. Now, I don't know if I go and select that image and go more images like this. I don't know if, like, it won't, or it hasn't in the past, save that image. Let's just go with more images like this one and see how we go. So roll for additional leader images to match your civilization, using this one as the one that we've got selected. So we'll just go, but I really like the look of this one, so I don't actually want to go that have, I want to experiment to see if it now puts this one up in the top corner, which is what I would want it to do. I think we might just use this one, I think. That sort of works for me, to be honest. That sort of works for me. So, but yeah, it used to, well, I don't know now. I sort of now want to try it just for the sake of testing it to see if if it still doesn't keep this one, because I'd like to keep that one in the corner and then just generate another 8. That would be ideal. Anyway, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to click on done with that one as our leader. So just going to click on done through there. So the portrait and the leader will then sort of will be then changed across eventually. There we go. And so this is the mechanized anarchy. Metal Horde is the group. Now we've got Circuitria. Fantastic. I love that name of that one. It's a paradise world in a precursor graveyard. Leader name is Vex Prime. Oh, awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. And the ship call sign is the mechanized anarchy. I don't know what the D stands for, but MAD, M-A-D. The M-A, maybe it's Deathbots. Yeah, so mechanized anarchy Deathbots. We'll go with that one. Why not? Secretary, I love the, God, this is just such a good job. It's such a good job. And so then we've got all the summaries in through this other side. And we've got the civilization law. We won't bother customizing that one. It also then goes and creates responses, like so it generates an awful lot behind the scenes as well. We certainly don't need a flower here. So this was not a good choice. Oh, this has changed as well, I think, from what I saw in... am I getting it confused? No, I thought it actually summarized these, but it doesn't summarize them. So what we want to do is we want to find something that sort of suits the look and feel of who we actually are. So I want it looking fairly robotic. So like a puppy dog. I don't like the puppies and the cats and the avian citizens. I wish that they weren't in the game, to be honest. Or if they were sort of a bit more anthropomorphic. Yeah, we've got that one there. That's pretty bit dark. I've already used this one in other things. God, they've done a great job with this. It really does. The game just looks so much better than it ever has before. These are old ones back in the bottom through here. I actually feel that this one feels cold and robotic, which, I mean, I'm gravitating to the colours in through here. But these look more organic, just with the overall approach with them. Like they sort of look like they're based on flying creatures. But this one just looks like it's robotic. These all look robotic, but I like this one's got a little bit more orange. So bang, in we go. We'll just choose that one there. So that's going to be our logo for the mechanized anarchy. We are done. We're going to save this civilization. So that's actually now the new one that we've got. We are going to use that as our starting point. So it's just trying to now save all of these. Oh, I screwed up. Because I didn't set the benefits, the bonuses. I'm going to have to do it again. No, I don't know if I can edit this one. I'll see if I can edit it when we come back into it. Yeah, I think we can. So I'll do it when we start the game. I'll actually just do an edit because we're going to have like a preset group of other things which I didn't fix under our abilities. So it is generating different things in through here. All right, so here we go with this particular one. We're just going to go next. Hang on, if I just go back and if I then click on this one again and go next. Oh, it's not bringing it up. Oh no. Oh no, oh no, oh no. I'm going to have to figure out a way to edit this one. Because if I go to some of the others, like if I go to this one here and go next, it then brings up this screen in here where I can then just go through and change these. And I need to change these because I don't know what we've got. This is another problem in the game. I don't think that they've put it in yet, but if we just go, I'll just try this again. Can we edit it? Actually, maybe we can do it here, edit. Oh, okay, we can. Cool. All right, so the abilities in through here. I didn't actually fix this one up. So what we have is we've got some in fast, which I'm actually happy enough with. We've got courageous, which modifies the ability to resist invasions. Not really interested in that one, to be honest. So we're just going to go and just unclick that one there. So we need to get trait points. So that one's not one that I wanted to have extra things in through here. Clever, no. Rich, this is gross income. Now our income is going to be based on invasion anyway, so we don't need that one. Productive, again, these are sort of go-to type things for me in the past, but not with what we have now with what we have. Militant, so increases your starting control. That could be worthwhile. Influential, no. Likable, no. Explorers, no. I think fast too is important for us. So we'll go fast too. We'll go with veteran, modifies how quickly your ships gain experience. I think that would be a good one as well. So we have one more trait point. Brutal. Modifies the success of planetary invasions. Don't really need that one, to be honest. Courageous. Deceptive, no. Miners, no. That one's not required. Bureaucrats, farmers. Intimidating. Now this one here modifies your chance to use intimidation in events and diplomacy. Not really. And persuasive, no. It wasn't terrible the way it was set up, but I think if we just go in through here, let's just go with that. So we end up basically just going with fast and veteran. So we'll just go and save our civilization yet again. So we're going to now be this one in through here. So when we go in, we don't ever get to see this screen again, and I really wish that the game allowed you to see all of these base screens for all of the different factions that you come up against, but it doesn't actually allow it, or it hasn't. And I did check it a little bit with this release version. I've been hoping for that. That's another thing I do hope that they bring into the game. But I think we're sort of done, guys, like in this episode. So let's actually go through. I'm going to leave it here. This is a long episode just to sort of get to this point. But we've now got our way forward of how we're going to then sort of go and play. So we'll come in and do that in the next episode, and that will be the start of the gameplay. So thanks for watching. I will catch you then.